Hello, it is Monday, September 25th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Monday crossword, so it shouldn't be too tricky today. We should have a nice, gentle, themed crossword to kick off the solving week. I hope that's what we get. And this beginning to the solving week has been brought to us by the Lake House Bros, William Arundel, Adam and Annette Noble, and, as always, the indomitable Shoalmaster and the incredible Horan family. And speaking of William Arundel, thank you for your nice note the other day. Those five have brought us this series. They sustain this channel each day. Thank you to them. Thank you to everybody who's a patron of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. I really do appreciate it. It does keep all of this going. So thank you to them. Thank you to you if you're a patron. And if you'd like to become one, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve and click the link in the description field. Or, you can do that. And you'll see the bonus videos available to patrons, as well as the official Let's Check the Crosses mug for benefactors. So thank you again to all of those patrons. And I really do appreciate your efforts, whether you're a patron now or in the past. All right. And you can also subscribe to the channel on YouTube. That is a big help. Thanks to everybody who's done that. And there's the Daily Solve Discord chat server, to which there's also a link in the description field. There you can join a nice friendly chat community discussing these puzzles, these videos, crosswords, and other puzzles. So check that out as well. All right, let's get on to the crossword. This is a Monday construction by Lynn Lempel, and I just realized I completely forgot to check her construction count, but I certainly recognize her name. She's certainly quite an experienced constructor, so that I do remember, but I can't give you a number. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see what's in store for us today. Tablet that comes with the FaceTime app, presumably the iPad. It seems safe enough. Musical work that may be numbered. So often in classical music and European art music, you'll have opus numbers of pieces to catalog an author's work, or the composer will have given it those numbers. Firm and brittle as a cracker. Crisp. Let's see if that works with the crosses. One auditing the books in brief. Could be CPA, a certified public accountant. Calorie-laden could be rich as a food. Temporary as a position of leadership could be an interim position, temporarily held. Sound systems are speakers? No. Sound systems are I'm not sure. Oh, stereos. There we go. And a presidential forgiveness would be a pardon for a crime or conviction. So a bunch of bovines would be a herd of, say, cattle. And Rock's REO Speedwagon is the name of a band and a vehicle for which they're named. What a poker face hides. A tell, a signal, a what? What does a poker face hide? Emotion. You want to hide your emotion. There we go. Paperclip alternative could be a staple to fasten papers. And if something's not cool, it's unhip, maybe? Oh yeah, this looks like character crossing it, so I think that's probably correct. Super campaign fundraiser. So in the US, you have these organizations called PACs and super PACs, PAC for Political Action Committee. I'm not really sure what a super PAC is, to be honest. I mean, it's big, I suppose, but I don't know what legally distinguishes it, if anything. The Lord of the Rings monster, and 3 letters starting with an O would be orc, I would think. So that means we've filled this in. So a tirade would be a rant. You're yelling and berating somebody. So Aleph, Ba, Ta, or Hamza, Arabic character. There we go. And don't forget, this is an or clue, so we're only referring to any one of these, not all of them. So this is a singular, not a plural answer, and that's obvious because we already have this filled in this way. But if we had come to this long, empty answer, you might be tempted to put an S at the end, but you shouldn't do that. Okay, NAACP co-founder Ida B. Wells. So there we go. Ida B. Wells, certainly a famous historical figure in Black American history. German automaker. Why do I not see what this is? I don't know. Yeah, I can't quite see it. Shower love on. Dote on somebody? Oh, Porsche, of course. Right, sorry. Couldn't think of enough German auto brands. There we have it. No longer moving. If you're at a rest, you would be no longer moving. And your first public appearance could be your debut. Oh, maybe I have something wrong. This doesn't look good. Give the cold shoulder to shun somebody. So at a halt, fair enough. No longer moving, at a stop, at a rest, at a halt. I suppose it could be any of those. So to shun, I don't want to get into it, you could say. It's not up for discussion at the moment. Here we have a Wall Street launch, which is an IPO and an initial public offering when a company is turned from a private company into a public company with publicly traded shares. Hotel booking would be a room of a hotel, of course. Oh, right, here will be something thematic. Oh, maybe this was as well. It was. I didn't really pick up on that, but we're now looking at our second clue that is being referenced by our revealer down at 62 across. So a math diagram with an array of dots would be a scatter plot. Right, I haven't thought about those in a long time. Stanley Cup organization would be the NHL, so that's the sort of championship trophy. And then a weekend TV comedy show in brief. I suppose this is the official sketch comedy show of the New York Times Crossword, SNL, Saturday Night Live. Although I don't know that it comes up recently enough to garner an official designation. I don't know, you tell me if you think so. Anyway, here's Let's Make a Deal, which I've never seen, but I've certainly heard of a game show of some sort. Button to press after composing an email would be the send button, I would think. So what about this? Some reproductive cells would be ova, the plural of ovum, egg. And at any time would be ever. If it happened ever, it happened at any time. If you're spellbound, you're absolutely, your tension is consumed, you're wrapped. Organization that regulates hazardous waste would be the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States. And sounds of understanding would be Oz, I assume. Ah, yes, I understand. This looks like earth something. Color, yes, colors such as khaki or ochre would be an earth tone. A sort of brownish, lightish brownish color. Ripped apart would be torn, of course, like a piece of paper. And like a game's score before overtime, tied, potentially, hence the overtime. And basketball hoops are the rims of the hoop, or the rims of the, basket. Drop is to sag, maybe. That could be used literally or figuratively. And file folder figures could be, it's a nice bit of alliteration. Oh, and it's followed by another one, fearsome folklore figure. That's funny. Probably doesn't mean anything, but just a nice little flourish by the constructor. Anyway, tabs, I suppose, if you have files sorted and you have them labeled with tabs, suspect, or tags, maybe? I think tabs, but let's look at this. Undergarment with an underwire. Yes, that would be an underwire bra, so there we go. So the fearsome folklore figure would be an ogre. All right. A gun sound would be a bang. Seems reasonable enough. Feature of the Capitol or the Taj Mahal. So these are both examples of architecture featuring a dome. So there we go. And again, here we have another or clue, so not domes. Colombia-Venezuela border river. Oh no. Do I know this offhand? I'm not sure I do. Let's keep going. Slender tower of a mosque would be a minaret. So there we go. Another architectural feature. Some buildings have minarets and domes. Maybe even an onion dome. Henhouse product could be an egg produced in a henhouse. An oil drilling structure is a rig. If one used a chair, one sat down, simply enough. And Honest Abe was a nickname applied to President Abraham Lincoln of the United States. So there we go. Pre-planning activity. Something setting? Place setting, table setting, date setting, maybe? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. What about this? Brimming with excitement, agog? Blank Get Fooled Again, the Who classic. It's interesting that they didn't capitalize the. I think the name of the band is The Who, including the with the capital T. That's interesting. Anyway, it's Won't Get Fooled Again is the name of the song. Egypt's Lake blank near Aswan Dam. Nasser? What is this? Goal setting? We finally have, thanks to that GO. U.S. organization with cryptologists, the NSA, the National Security Agency. Espresso drink, could be a latte, it's certainly a common espresso drink. Elite British boys' school, certainly the official preparatory school at the New York Times Crossword, is Eton School outside of London. And to rip apart would be to rend a piece of paper, after which it would be torn. A sweetie could be hun, so it could be a term of endearment, a way to address somebody close to you. And word after living or dead, living end or dead end. Sounds right to me. This does look like Nasser, doesn't it? Care to fill me in, or a hint to 17, 23, 37, or 55 across's final words. So a hint to character, plot, tone, or setting. Those are sort of dramatic elements or literary elements. Those are elements of a story. Care to fill me in? What's the story? So what's the story? There we go. Okay, yes. I read this clue and then immediately forgot that it was phrased as a question, which means the answer also needs to be questioned. I read that and then read this and immediately started thinking about these and didn't consider the kind of form of answers. So always keep that in mind. Biblical judge whose hair gave him strength would be Samson, famously, whose hair was cut off by Delilah. Monkeys with long snouts are baboons, right? Okay, are they? I didn't know baboons were monkeys, but not that I'm any kind of, I'm no taxonomist or biologist. All right, eroded would be ate away. Medieval castle defense could be a moat, and something slender would be thin. If you're currently broadcasting to radio or television, you're on air, and a curved path would be an arc. And then here we have the boy band with the hits Bye 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 and It's Gonna Be Me must be In Sync, which I sort of remember being around in the late 90s and early 2000s. Okay, bill dispensers in brief would be ATMs, automated teller machines, and here we have the Mona Lisa, the famous painting by Leonardo. Oh, Colombia, Venezuela border river, Orinoco. Okay, I don't know that I remembered that was a border of Colombia and Venezuela, but I'm certainly familiar with the river by name, at least. Passed with flying colors would be aced, as in an exam, and an amount at the bottom of a receipt would be your total to pay, except if you're somewhere where tips are expected, in which case it won't really be the total. And then real estate units are lots, and fabric buying quantities are yards, of course. Sorry, that took me a moment. You could buy a yard of fabric, so just simply a unit of length. And there we have it. That was the Monday crossword. Relatively straightforward today, I think. So that was that. And a nice theme involving the crucial elements of a story, which I think you could fairly reasonably characterize as speaking of character, as character, plot, tone, and setting. Those are certainly things that make up a story. Does anything tie together Arabic scatter earth goal? Probably. If we were in a connections setting and we had to come up with a justification for that, I might struggle to do so. But anyway, there we go. We have our character, plot, tone, and setting. So what's the story? Asks this revealer, and we've answered it. And because I don't think I've actually used that word very often recently, the revealer is it's the clue that ties together the rest of the theme. So our often highlighted answers, when we have a revealer, often in the software they will highlight the other answers related to the theme. It's the clue that ties those all together and explains what's going on. We don't always have a revealer with a theme, but sometimes we do. And when we do, it is often predicted by Lyell's law to be in roughly this position. In the across clues towards the southern end of the grid, in fact, often 3 cells up from the southern border, and most frequently abutting the eastern border. In this case, it spans the grid, so that's somewhat irrelevant. But it's in its classic position, this revealer, and it does explain what's going on. So there we have it. A nice simple Monday puzzle by Lynn Lempel. So thank you to her. And now let's quickly I think I do have time, we'll just quickly read a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. So let's do that right now. Dave N. explains that the triceps muscles is named as such because it has 3 heads, which consist of 3 attachments on the scapula and humerus, which all become one muscle body and attach to the ulna with a single tendon. There you go, an incredibly useful and concise answer. Thank you for that. And Spikelthing replies explaining that biceps have 2 heads. The sep part of tri and bicep literally mean head, as in cephalic. Well, that makes complete sense as well. So thank you for those 2 excellent explanations. So now we have a comment from Adam, who explains most planes are configured with rows in 2 seats of 3, where A and F are window seats, B and E are center seats, and C and D are aisle seats. So there we go. That would be a common convention referenced in yesterday's puzzle. And I do wonder how that applies on aircraft with 2 aisles, because wide-body aircraft, you could have 2 aisles on a large plane, and I suppose it must just be different there. And George nominates SLR as the official camera type of the New York Times Crosswords. I think that's fair. I think that is both overwhelmingly the official camera type, possibly the only camera type I can remember very commonly occurring, and it does come up fairly frequently as an answer, SLR. So I think that's a fair nomination. There we have it. All right, and those are all the clues from yesterday's puzzle. So thank you, of course, as always, to everybody who wrote in, and thanks to you for watching this far into the video. I'll be back tomorrow with another, should be relatively approachable, themed weekday puzzle. So join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Monday. Take care.